Самый любимый мальчик, самый красивый.
Jeb, what is that noise you are making right now, sir?
From nap mode to turbo mode in 1 second.
I swear to God, if you step on my hair one time, I'm gonna yeet you down that hallway.
Look at the ones watching up top. Mama. It's okay. Don't worry.
Okay, alright, maybe not.
No climbing, sweetie. Come on. Sit down. It's dangerous.
Продолжаем рубрику «Готовка». Готовим оливье, Карай явно помогает. Карай, ты же уже ел.
DNA testing for sure. Cats naturally have instincts to protect young ones, let alone their own kittens. Looks like it only takes one wild move to start a full-blown war. You gotta stay ready with big dogs. Now that's some serious.
That mafia boss cat down there. Oh shit.
Mum cats always teach independence, but quietly watch to protect their kittens when needed.
There's no...
Kitchen. Are you coming to zoo?
Funnycat's got the system figured out.
What? I know.
This is such heaven on earth, literally. Your buddy and you going in for a cuddle is everything.
Ты заметила, что у тебя еще хвост в воде?
Being a mum also means unlocking quite a few impressive skills.
也不知道有多爽。好吗？喵。
Hello everyone. Today I will tell you a story. The story is titled, MIT in the Moment That Needed No Words. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you appreciate me. You can skip this if you don't and oppose. Like this video. Thank you very much. The story begins as follows. Some mornings do not announce themselves with alarms, loud conversations, or rushing footsteps. They arrive softly, like a gentle knock on the door of the day. That morning was one of them. The sun slipped through the thin curtains, landing quietly on the floor, warming the air just enough to make everything feel unhurried. I was awake, but not fully ready to move. The world outside felt paused, as if it had agreed to give me a few extra minutes of peace. MIT was already awake. He lay beside my bed, curled into a loose circle, his black nose resting on his front paws. His eyes were open, calm, and observant, watching me in the way only dogs do, without judgment, without expectation. He didn't bark. He didn't whine. He didn't ask for anything. He simply stayed there, breathing slowly, sharing the same quiet space. MIT was not a big dog, nor was he especially small. He was perfectly ordinary in size, with soft fur that always felt warmer than it looked. His ears tilted slightly forward when he focused, and his tail had a habit of moving gently even when the rest of his body stayed still. He wasn't trained to perform tricks or follow complicated commands. What he knew, he had learned naturally: how to wait, how to listen, and how to stay close. I sat up slowly, careful not to disturb the calm of the room. MIT lifted his head, met my eyes, and blinked once. That blink felt like a greeting, like a simple "good morning," spoken without sound. I reached down and rested my hand on his head. He leaned into it, not pushing, not pulling away, just enough to let me know he was there. There were no words between us, yet the moment felt full. We stayed like that for a while. I scratched behind his ears. He closed his eyes. The day waited patiently outside the window, but neither of us seemed in a hurry to meet it. In that quiet space, I realized something simple and comforting. Sometimes, the best conversations happen when nothing is said at all. Life eventually asks us to move, even on the calmest mornings. I stood up, stretched, and walked toward the kitchen. MIT followed, his nails clicking softly against the floor. He always walked slightly behind me, never rushing ahead, as if he believed there was no need to lead when companionship was enough. In the kitchen, I poured water into his bowl and watched as he drank slowly, pausing now and then to look up at me. I made coffee, the familiar smell filling the air. The house felt alive in a quiet way. The hum of the refrigerator, the distant sound of traffic outside, the clink of a spoon against a mug. MIT laid down near my feet, his body relaxed, his presence steady. I sat at the small table by the window, coffee in hand, staring at nothing in particular. My thoughts drifted, unfinished tasks, unanswered messages, small worries that had followed me from the previous day. I sighed without realizing it. MIT lifted his head. He didn't move closer. He didn't make a sound. He simply watched me, his eyes soft but alert, as if he had noticed the shift in the air. After a few seconds, he stood up and placed his head gently against my knee. The pressure was light, almost careful, but it was enough to pull me out of my thoughts. I looked down at him. He looked back. That was it. No dramatic gesture. No demand for attention. Just a quiet reminder that I was not alone in my thoughts, that someone noticed. Later that day, we went for our usual walk. The streets were familiar, lined with trees that had seen us pass by countless times. MIT sniffed the same corners, greeted the same neighborhood dogs, and wagged his tail at people who smiled back. Nothing special happened, and yet, everything felt meaningful. At one point, we stopped at a small park. I sat on a bench, watching the clouds drift lazily across the sky. MIT sat beside me, his body touching mine, warm and solid. A breeze moved through the trees, and for a moment, the world felt perfectly balanced. I thought about how often humans fill silence with words, talking to avoid discomfort, speaking to feel important, or explaining things that do not need explanation. MIT never did that. He existed fully in the present moment. When he was happy, he showed it. When he was tired, he rested. When he sensed something in me, he responded, not with solutions, but with presence. That was his language. That evening, the sky darkened earlier than expected. Clouds gathered, heavy and gray, and rain began to fall in slow, steady drops. I turned off the lights and sat on the floor near the window, watching the rain trace quiet lines down the glass. MIT came and sat beside me. Thunder rumbled softly in the distance. It wasn't loud enough to scare him, but I noticed his ears twitch. Without thinking, I placed my arm around him. He leaned into me, his weight grounding, his warmth reassuring. We listened to the rain together, the sound filling the room like a calm, steady heartbeat. I thought about all the things I hadn't said that day, the emotions I hadn't named, the questions I hadn't answered. And yet, sitting there with MIT, none of it felt urgent. He didn't need explanations. He didn't need me to be cheerful or confident or strong. He accepted whatever version of me existed in that moment. As the rain continued, I realized how rare that kind of acceptance was. MIT shifted slightly and rested his head on my leg. His breathing slowed, deep and even. I ran my fingers through his fur, feeling the rise and fall of his body. The moment felt timeless, as if it existed outside of schedules and responsibilities. There was no need to say thank you or I understand. The understanding was already there. In that silence, I learned something important. Connection does not always come from shared words or ideas. Sometimes it comes from shared stillness, from being present, from choosing to stay. When the rain finally stopped and the world outside grew quiet again, MIT lifted his head and looked at me. His eyes were bright, calm, and trusting. I smiled. We didn't say anything. We didn't need to. MIT and the moment that needed no words remind us of something deeply valuable in today's busy world. Not everything meaningful requires explanation. In modern life, we are constantly encouraged to speak, react, respond, and perform. Silence is often misunderstood as emptiness, when in reality, it can be full of understanding. Through MIT, we see how animals communicate with honesty and presence. They listen without interrupting, comfort without judging, and stay without conditions. This teaches us an important lesson for our relationships with both animals and people. Sometimes, the best support we can offer is simply being there. In our daily lives, we can learn to slow down and notice the quiet moments. Sit with your pet without distractions. Observe their behavior, their needs, their emotions. Respect their individuality, just as you would with another human being. This builds trust, empathy, and a deeper bond. Beyond animals, MIT's quiet wisdom applies to human relationships as well. Learn to listen more than you speak. Allow space for others to exist without pressure. Understand that presence can be more powerful than advice. By embracing these lessons, we create a kinder world, one where humans and animals live together not just as companions, but as teachers for one another.